Hello and welcome to the book summary of The Millionaire Fastlane. And this has to be my favorite book on wealth creation for sure. Now, sure, there is psychology of money as well, but I am not that big of a fan of psychology of money as compared to this one. Now, psychology of money is still good, but I just prefer this. And if you are someone that would like to understand what is the mindset of a rich person, how you can come out of the mindset of a poor or a middle class person, then this is exactly the video for you. And this is the first part of this book summary. I'm going to be releasing a second part in which I'll be covering the tools, tips, and techniques that are discussed in this book that are going to help you gain that wealth. Correct? So if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you don't already know me, my name is Mohit Jagwani. I am an entrepreneur, life coach, and I'm one of India's top speakers. And my goal with this channel is to help you build a better life and help you become the most powerful and the most confident version of yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. The first part is wealth in a wheelchair. Get rich slow is get rich old. A lot of the times we have been drilled into our heads, this has been drilled into our heads, that getting rich is a very slow and tedious process and it takes a lot of time by the society. Well, it does take time. I'm not going to say as if it's just you can get rich like this. That's not the truth. But the society says that it's going to take at least 30-40 years for you to accumulate a high amount of wealth. But that's not true. There are people that get rich relatively quickly as well because they have a really good idea and they work with other businesses that help them execute that idea at a really great scale. Right? So that's not always true. And in fact, if you have this methodology, you have this ideology that getting rich is slow, then by the time you become rich, and if you are, let's say, dedicated, you will become rich. But by the time you get there, you're going to be really old if you have the get rich slow mentality. So you need to work upon that and you need to realize that that's not always true. There are people that are getting rich really quickly as well because they work upon themselves, they build their competency, their knowledge base, and they execute really fast. So these are some things that you need to keep in mind. Now let's move on to part 2, which is wealth is not a road, but a road trip. What does this even mean, dude? So here's the thing, right? Wealth is not as if, okay, so you have the path. As soon as you just look at the path, you're going to get rich. No, that's not true. You need to walk the path. You need to travel the path. And traveling the path is not going to be easy. But to be honest, all of these three paths, I'll be talking about three paths, by the way. The first path is the sidewalk, wherein the ultimate destination for all of us is, let's say, to get rich. If you choose the sidewalk, it's going to be a very slow process and you'll probably not get there. You'll die before you get there. The second path is the slow lane. Now, you will get there slowly, but surely you'll get there if you're on the slow lane, but you're going to be old by the time you get there. And the first path, the final path, basically the ideal path, if your goal is to get rich, is the fast lane. And when you're in the fast lane, it's not as if, okay, it's not going to be like this, but instead of you taking 30 years, you're probably going to take 5 or 10 years to get rich. Right? So I'll be talking about all three paths and I'll be talking about three things specifically. First and foremost, the mindset. Right? Basically, what is your perception related to time, education, debt, money, wealth, life, and accountability and responsibility. Correct? So these are the 7 things. And in mindset, I'll be talking about the mindset of the slow laners, right? Basically, mediocre or middle class people, the sidewalkers, basically poverty, and finally, the fast laners, right? Which is, as I've mentioned before, rich, the fast lane to get rich. Okay, so that is number one, mindset. Second thing I'm going to talk about is the wealth equation. How is it that these people get wealthy? And the wealth equation consists of 3 things, right? Every one of these 3 laners have a wealth equation. The first part is obviously how do they acquire money or wealth, right? That is equal to primary income source. What is their primary source of income? How is it that they make their bread and butter? And then the third part of the equation is primary wealth accelerator. So primary income source plus primary wealth accelerator equals wealth or income or the money they make, right? All three of these laners, slow laners, sidewalkers, and fast laners have their different and unique wealth equations. I'll be talking about that as well. And then finally, the third thing is their destination. Basically, if you walk all of these paths, right, what is the destination of a sidewalker, what is the destination of a slow laner, and what is the destination of a fast laner? Okay, so without further ado, let's move forward. Part 3 is poverty, the sidewalk roadmap. Now, when you are in this roadmap, if you are using this roadmap, then your perception is really screwed. That perception of a sidewalker is that of accumulating things, material things, liabilities instead of wealth. So they use EMIs and debts to purchase luxurious items or items that don't actually help them make more money. For example, buying a car, right? In most scenarios, if you buy a car, until and unless it's, let's say, a Ferrari or something, or a sort of car that increases its valuation over time, right? And by the way, those cars are ultra expensive. There's a big chance that you're probably not buying those ones. But sidewalkers generally make those kind of purchase decisions, wherein the money they, whatever debt they accumulate, they just spend it on useless things, useless experiences that don't help them grow and become financially rich. Okay, and their time perception is time is abundant. I live for today, forget about tomorrow. They only live for today and they optimize their life for today. Their education perception is, you know what, I educated, I graduated school, that's all, that's enough. I'm not going to touch a book or a course or a program after that. If that is the case, they'll never upskill themselves and they'll stay stuck in a rut because they haven't worked upon themselves. The amount of money you make depends on your skill set, and the skill set is never going to improve if you don't learn on a continuous basis. So, right, that is their education perception. Their money perception is, if I got it, if I have it, I'm going to flaunt it, right? I'm just going to spend it. I'm not going to save. I'm not going to invest. I'm just going to spend, right? So if that is your scenario, and if that is the case, again, not getting rich. And their perception of wealth is wealth equals luxurious items. That's it. That's all they think. Owning a good car means wealth for them. Owning a good house, right, means wealth for them, which is not always true. Okay, so, and their perception of life is, to hell with tomorrow, I live today. I live for today, I die today. Today is the last day on earth, and I'll just live as if there's no tomorrow. And they spend all of their money like that, and they stay stuck in whatever hell they are. Wealth equation of a sidewalker is wealth equals income plus debt. Basically, for them, whatever money they make is first and foremost by their income, by whatever gig or job it is that they are doing, plus debt they are accumulating. So they're just accumulating debt, and as they keep on accumulating debt that does not help them generate more money, guess what? They keep on sinking deeper and deeper into the hole that they are digging for themselves. Let's say, for example, you're making 1 lakh a month. Let's say that is your income. And right now you have a debt of, let's say, 10,000 per month. But let's say you're a sidewalker. So you keep on accumulating debt, you keep on buying things, and you keep on delaying paying those things. For example, 1 lakh per month plus 10,000 debt. So you only have 90,000 now. The next month, let's say you buy something else. Now your debt increases to 20,000. Then the next month, 50,000. Right? So as a result, your debt is increasing, but your income is still the same. As a result, guess what? You're never going to get rich if you're on this path. Okay? So don't do this. And the destination of a sidewalker is not very good. They'll just stay poor forever. That's it. Okay? So don't be a sidewalker, and let's move on to the next one, which is part 4, mediocrity, the slow lane roadmap. Now, this is how a middle class person thinks. This is much better than a slow laner, but still not as optimal. So, in terms of mindset, the slow laners think that debt is evil. Debt is just a tool for rich people that already have a lot of money to acquire more money from middle class and lower class people. So, they just don't touch debt at all. They don't take EMIs, they don't touch loans, anything. And as a result, they don't have enough capital to start a business, and they stay stuck because they don't know how to leverage debt. Okay, now again, am I recommending that you should take debt immediately? No. Obviously, understand the principles, understand how debt works and how you can leverage it to make money. Don't just randomly acquire debt. Okay, so that is another thing. They think that time is very abundant and they have a lot of time to get rich, to make a lot of money, and they trade their time to make money by doing a job. And which in a way slow laners also do, but what they do separate from slow laners is that in terms of money, they don't just waste it, they save it. That is their money perception. Money is scarce, and it is supposed to be saved. Don't just spend it randomly. And what they do is that they save on the side and also invest on the side a little bit. So that is their perception of wealth and money. In terms of education, they think education is really important, but not the right kind of education. They think getting degrees so that they can get higher paying jobs, which is not 100% wrong, but it's not the most optimal way to get rich. Degrees sure help you get better jobs. But here's the thing, right? The more degrees you get, the more degrees are there in the market, the lower the price of your degree becomes. So, in a way, education prices are rising, but the value of your degree is going down because more and more people are getting more and more degrees. So, it's in a way double inflation of education. So, education is not enough. Okay, just getting degrees is not enough. You need to educate yourself in other ways, in different ways. And I'll be talking about that in the next segment. And their perception of life is settle for less. Give up on big dreams. You're not going to achieve them. They are unachievable. They have accepted that, which is not true. Let me just ask you, okay, if you kind of resonate with this, if you are someone that comes from a very bad place, not rich at all, middle class or lower middle class or even poor, but you know people around you or someone or the other that comes from a lower middle class or below poverty line or middle class background, and they have become rich by, let's say, doing a business or doing something or the other or gaining equity using leverage. If they can do it, you can do it too. Correct? There's little, it's just a mindset block. That's all it is. You can get rich if you provide enough value to the world. Right? So have this inside of yourself, and when you believe that yes, it is possible for you to get rich, and you work towards it, you work towards finding a way on how you can create value for the world, it is inevitable for you to get rich. Okay, moving on. So this was the mindset part. Now their wealth equation is wealth equals job plus market investments. So they save and invest their money on a regular basis. That does most definitely help. Investing in the long term, let's say you start an SIP, it's going to continuously help you accumulate funds, and you will eventually get rich for sure. Correct? But that's not always the case, because your investment can go down. The economy could turn upside down and your investment could crash. So it's better than a slow laner, it's better than a sidewalker, but not 100% solid. And the destination is a comfortable retirement in their twilight years when they old. So when they get old, they want to retire and they just want to live their life on their money. That is what a slow laner does. Okay, and if you want to do that, I understand. If you really love your job, you love whatever you are doing, I understand you don't value wealth as much, then that's fine. But if that is not you, then you need to take a look at the fast lane roadmap. Moving on to the next part, which is the fast lane. Fast lane is wealth. It helps you understand how you can create wealth. What is the mindset of a wealthy person and how do they get rich? There are also 4 characteristics of the fast lane. First characteristic is controlled unlimited leverage. So when you are a slow laner, you have uncontrolled limited leverage when you are investing in a market, because you don't control the market. There are a lot of other factors that you probably have no idea about, that you can't control, that determine whether the market is going to go up or down. But as a fast laner, You control what business it is that you want to invest in. You control how is it that you want to help people. You control how quickly and how much are you going to upskill, and the limit is unlimited. So that is why it's controlled and it is unlimited. There is no upward ceiling. There's no ceiling to whatever you can do when you're in the fast lane. But a job has a ceiling. After a point of time, you will not make more in a job. Okay, so that is the first characteristic of the fast lane, that is controlled unlimited leverage. The second characteristic is a business. When you are a fast laner, you don't focus on doing a job, you focus on doing a business, because when you're doing a job, you're trading your time for money. And if you're trading your time for money, then the amount of money you make will always going to be limited by your time. But in a business, you utilize systems, processes, and someone else's time as well, an executive's or an employee's time as well, and you pay them based on their time and their ability, and then you sell the outcome for a much higher price. Correct? So that is what essentially a business does. A proper business, not a self-employment gig, a business, right? Essentially, you are hiring people, you're hiring them for their skills, correct? And you pay them money for the time they are investing, and you leverage the outcome that you are getting from them, and you sell it at a higher price. That's essentially what a business is. The third is the lifestyle. Now, the lifestyle of a fast learner is very different from a slow learner or a sidewalker. It's a commitment. It's a mix of blended beliefs, perceptions. It's a way of looking at life that, you know what, we don't operate from a space of scarcity. We operate from a space of abundance. It is not that life is very, it's supposed to be super struggle filled. That's not the case. Look around, man. There are buildings around you. There are cars around you. These buildings have been built by builders that are super freaking rich. Correct? The cars that, let's say, you see on the roads, Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce, Porsches, all of these have been bought by people that have a, let's say, somewhat similar skill set to you. They have a brain just like you, they have a tongue just like you, and they can work just like you. They just have a different mindset. They operate differently. That's all there is to it. Correct? If they can do it, you can do it too. So it's a lifestyle. The next thing is rapid wealth creation. They don't focus on getting rich slow. They focus on how can they provide value, create an MVP, and distribute it in a way that helps them generate wealth. Okay, and I'll be talking about MVPs and all of that in the next part of the video. So this is the first part of the Millionaire Fastlane. The second part is going to come on. So today is the day of the upload of this video is 7th of August. The next one is going to be out on 9th of August. So stay tuned. And once again, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe right now. We're talking about the mindset, the wealth equation, and the destination of the fast lane. In terms of mindset, they think that debt is useful, and they use that debt to gain assets that actually help them get richer instead of acquiring liabilities that just help them, that don't help them, by the way. They pull them down. For example, they'll not just buy a car, a Mercedes or something like that. If they need it, sure, they will, but they don't spend it in a way that, for example, if they have a crore, they'll not spend that crore to buy a car that's worth 40 lakhs. You get what I'm trying to say? Right? They'll rather invest. If they want a car, they'll probably buy a car for 15 or 18 or 20 lakhs. And the rest of it, they're going to invest in a business. Right? And as a result, they're going to accumulate wealth faster. So that is their perception of debt or money in general, right? And they take loan not to, let's say, cover an EMI or something like that. They take loan for a business so that they can make more money. That is their perception of debt. And for them, in terms of time perception, their time is the most important asset they have, and they spend their time very cautiously with the people they surround themselves with the things that they choose to do. They are very careful about the things they choose to spend their time on. That is their time perception. And for them, education is not limited to degrees. Sure, if they need a degree, they'll get it, but they understand why is it that they are getting a degree. For example, a lot of the times people take an MBA to start a business, but here's the thing. You don't need an MBA to do a business. You just need to have the ability to understand how you can provide value to people and charge for that value at scale. If you can do that, you can run a business. And if you are doing an MBA, either do it from an Ivy League like an IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, or any IIM or NMIMS, very good Ivy League college, ISB, or don't do it. No, seriously, either do it from a good college or don't do it, because it does not make sense for you to do it. Otherwise, you'll just be wasting 2 years of your life. Instead, whatever money you would be spending in an MBA, use it to acquire or spend it on a business. It's going to be approximately 25 to 30 lakhs probably. Can you start a business using that money? Absolutely, you can. And there are schemes available as well. Correct? So that is how you're supposed to use your time and depth as a fast laner. And for a fast laner, they think that their dreams are worth pursuing no matter how unrealistic and crazy and delusional they seem to other people. That's it. Okay? And that's absolutely fine. That is how it should be, because delusional people actually, and by the way, when I say delusional, I mean people that are considered delusional by most people, but they are really smart. These are the kind of people that become ultra successful. Okay, so if you are constantly being labeled as someone delusional by the people around you that are not successful, that's fine. That's good. Okay, that means that you are different and you're doing something different, and it's okay to be labeled delusional by the people around you. That's fine. So that was the mindset of a fast learner. Now I'm going to be talking about the wealth equation for a fast learner. And for a fast learner, wealth equation, wealth equals net profit plus asset value. In order to accumulate wealth, primarily they either, let's say, sell stuff. Now you can do it in two ways. Either you can tremendously increase the amount of numbers you sell, the units you sell, or you can tremendously increase the price, or you can increase both. If you can increase both, you'll become ultra rich. For example, Apple, right? Apple sells a lot of iPhones, and those iPhones are super expensive. Okay, which is why Apple is a $1 trillion company, one of the most valued companies on the face of this earth, because they follow this simple principle: units sold as much as possible, charging as high as possible, based on the way they market themselves, the way they present their product, and all of that. So that is the wealth equation of, that is the net profit part. And the asset value part is that they continuously gather assets. They invest in, let's say, real estate, or they'll probably invest in, let's say, a healthcare company or something like that. That is how they generate their wealth and their assets. Okay, so that is the wealth equation of a fast lane. And their destination is lifetime passive income, either through investments or through running a business that is automated, but they want lifetime passive income, so that even if they are not working, they are making money. By the way, in this he mentions retire early at a young age. I disagree with that part as a person, to be honest. I mean, sure, you should take up the fast lane, but you should never stop. You should always strive to grow as much as possible, make as much money as possible, and never stop working. Work on something that you really enjoy, that doesn't feel like work to you, but work for a lifetime, because when you stop working and you just focus on enjoying, you start dying. That's what it is. Okay, so these were the mindsets of the sidewalkers, the slow learners, and the fast learners. And just focus on thinking like fast learners. And the way you can think like a fast learner is by consume content that is going to help you rewire your mind. Let's say content of Alex Hormozy. Constantly consume content that helps you and makes you feel motivated and disciplined to do your work on a regular basis. Correct? Find what are your true strengths. How can you provide value? Because the more value you provide to people, the richer you are going to get. Correct? And in the next part, I will be talking about how you can utilize some tools, techniques. How can you create a money tree? Basically, it's a tree that you systematically grow and pour your time, energy, and efforts into, that eventually after a point of time starts giving you results, and you don't have to do a lot of things to get those results. It's just going to keep on giving you fruits. Correct? So we'll be talking about money trees, we'll be talking about commandments of a business and how you can run a business, all of that. And that's all from my side. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. That's all from my end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care.